Welcome back. In this section of the course, we explore the topic, why franchise? In 2013, 20 of the largest 25 franchise outfits in the United States were restaurant and hotel franchises. 13 of those were restaurant and 7 were hotels. This speaks to the popularity of franchising as a business concept. There are 4 basic stories about why franchising exists. The historic story, which is really proven to be a bad story, is that franchising provides franchisors with financing based on the balance sheets of their franchisees. There is little evidence to support this theory, as the largest franchisors now continue to use the business concept, even though their cost of capital is significantly lower than their franchisees. The second story is a moral hazard story. What franchising does is resolve a moral hazard problem with the firm's management. The firm faces a choice of whether to own and operate their own units or to engage in franchising and let someone else operate the units on their behalf. What franchising does is align the interests of the owner with that of the franchisor. It gets rid of so-called shirking behavior, and it gets rid of managers taking excessive risk to the detriment of the firm. Since the franchisee obtains all of the benefits of operating a store efficiently, they have little incentive to shirk or to not work very hard. In addition, they have little incentive to take excessive risk, as they bear the cost of those risks. The third major reason for franchising is a so-called search cost theory. What that means is that the franchisee can search at a much lower cost than the franchisor and can obtain business units in a location in a much more efficient way. The last story for franchising is an efficiency and a cost-saving story. It worked like this. The franchisor provides their services in a very efficient way. It is much more efficient to buy advertising for McDonald's on a national basis than each franchisee buy advertising on an individual basis. On the other hand, it is much more efficient for the franchisees to manage their stores in a very location-specific way than to rely on a large and complex management infrastructure. The 4 of these combine to provide franchising with a very good set of stories for why franchising is a good business concept. Lastly, let's take a look at the benefits and disadvantages for the franchisor. The franchisor obtains royalty fees and income with very little capital investment, is the primary advantage. The second advantage is that the franchisee provides a distribution system for the franchisor's concept and can roll that concept out in a very quick fashion. The disadvantages all relate in general to monitoring. Franchisees can behave badly, creating problems for the franchisor. You have a potential loss of operating control. The fast growth of a franchise concept can actually end up putting the franchisees in charge as they demand the franchisor change and adapt their business practices. A third disadvantage is that the franchisor only participates in cash flows based on revenues. They do not participate in the profits of the business. And then the last disadvantage for franchisors is they must establish a very effective quality assurance program to prevent franchisees from free riding on the brand and not behaving properly. One bad franchisee can destroy a system for an entire set of franchisees, and franchisors are well advised to have extremely strong and extremely effective quality assurance programs for their franchisees.